For those of you who'd rather have your favorite cowboy actors remain apolitical, well, we have bad news. Kevin Costner from the fan-favorite Yellowstone series has publicly declared his support for Congresswoman Liz Cheney of the Republican Party. In this video, we'll talk about Costner's political views and more about his status as a Republican. First up, Costner's link to the Republican. Last Monday, something posted on Twitter caught the eyes of many Yellowstone fans. So, Representative Liz Cheney just earned a new endorsement from none other than beloved Kevin Costner. The Congresswoman is currently in the middle of an intense re-election campaign to keep her spot as the U.S. Representative for Wyoming, and she took the liberty of posting a picture of the Yellowstone star in front of a huge ranch, donned in a shirt expressing support for Liz Cheney. Wait till you hear the caption. It said, "Real men put country over party." Not only does Cheney openly support both Trump's impeachments, but her views are uber conservative, so you can imagine the mix of disappointment and delight that Yellowstone fans felt upon seeing her tweet. Liz Cheney is currently facing a challenge from Harriet Hageman, backed by Donald Trump himself. And though Cheney is a Wyoming Republican, there's no mistaking her as one of Trump's biggest critics. She turned on Trump after the January 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol building by an angry mob of Trump supporters in an attempt to make Congress block Biden's win. Ever since then, she's been vocal about her distaste for Trump and all Republicans that associate with him. Naturally, her stance has given her limitless support from moderates and Democrats, all in awe of her bravery and willingness to criticize her own party. On the other hand, she's also become at odds with the general public of Wyoming's congressional district. A vast majority of the state backed Trump, with him winning a sweeping victory there in the 2020 election, making it the most conservative state at the time. Now, here's why we think Kevin's involved. She's in for a tough primary against Hageman, considering the latter has been endorsed and stamped for by Trump. And of course, Costner's endorsement makes the tiniest dent on this, not big enough by far. After refusing to support Trump and his sweeping claims about how the 2020 election was stolen from him because of voter fraud, Cheney is one of the two Republicans on the congressional committee investigating the riot. That, along with Representative Adam Kinzinger of Illinois, who chose not to run for re-election. Yikes, how did Costner get himself in the middle of all this chaos? Also, the Wyoming representative has been struggling to win enough support in the Republican primary, with surveys finding Hageman being ahead of her by 22 points and winning 52% of support. Cheney, on the other hand, is winning only 30% support from Republican primary voters, so things aren't looking too good for her recently. So maybe this is why she tried to get Kevin on board. But all in all, Wyoming voters will choose between Hageman and Cheney on the 16th of August. Whoever wins will be the favorite in the equality state. Sounds like a tough competition. Next up, Costner's own political leaning. Though he has now publicly endorsed Cheney, Costner does not identify as a Republican anymore. When he was younger, he was considered one up until he began supporting the Democrats in the 1990s, something that was cemented when he endorsed Pete Buttigieg, the mayor of South Bend, Indiana. Later, he openly supported Joe Biden's election campaign. Not one to be tied down, is he? In an interview with Variety in 2020, he expressed his belief that a president for both sides seems necessary for the public, and whoever is elected should address the concerns of the people who aren't in their favor, which in this case was Biden. Costner emphasized that Biden has the bandwidth to understand that the people who do not vote for him need his attention and must have their concerns addressed, hence making him the better option. What's more is that Costner openly expressed his detachment from both parties in an August 2020 interview with the Daily Beast. Ever unafraid to speak his mind or express his political views. Whether you like it or not, he criticized everything under the sun about both political parties, from Trump's war on the post office to the decline of U.S. history. The actor considers himself an independent, expressing how both the Democrats and the Republicans don't represent what he stands for. The choice is too limiting for him. Now, for Costner's acknowledgement of his own past and current views. It's not all rainbows and butterflies for Kevin either. His film, Dances with Wolves, was under heavy criticism for its depiction of the Civil War and urged to remove Confederate monuments. He argued that, at the time, the country was not living up to the ideal set by the Declaration of Independence. The actor insisted that men, albeit very intelligent, were the only people drafting it, and that people with property were the only ones able to vote. Women, Native Americans, black people, and people without property were all robbed of their right to vote. What's more is the actor's observation about how the coronavirus pandemic put light on how inept Americans are at supporting each other, hence weakening their international standing. Stating how Americans put themselves before anyone else, Kevin argued that America has yet to recover from its history of marginalization. He is of the firm belief that Confederate states are inappropriate for this very reason. season. Also, he made sure to extend his criticism to the other party as well, expressing how politicians place their own careers above the betterment of the nation. He clarified that anyone in politics is guilty of such, not just Trump. He, the senators, and the congressmen are all to blame, according to him, because one's first or second term doesn't determine public service. It's judged by history and the changes you make to it. For similar reasons, he dislikes being labeled as a Republican actor, something that he was referred to as in the 80s and 90s. The Yellowstone star expressed how he doesn't stick to one party while voting, but rather goes back and forth depending on the candidate. His endorsement for the Democratic nominee, Pete Buttigieg, was pretty self-explanatory in this regard. The actor places his vote based on who he thinks has the best interest of the nation in mind, conveying how politicians who lie to the public are not serving any purpose except that which benefits their own selves. Adding to that, he stressed the importance of assessing the direction of the country every 4 years before voting, since ultimately going in the right direction is what matters. Now, because the country is set up well, the general public has that opportunity. To interfere with the process on purpose for an outcome that benefits oneself only is criminal, in his words. Now, in other news, we have the much anticipated return of Yellowstone. The wait is almost over. Yellowstone will be back on your screens on Sunday the 13th of November. And what's more is that the season will be 14 episodes instead of 10, with those episodes set to be split into 2 separate chapters. Since Season 4 helped kickstart 1883, the first half of Season 5 will help introduce the new drama led by Sylvester Stallone, and the second half is expected to help launch the 1932 installment. We can't wait, and the much anticipated return of the cast. Have no fear. Your favorite Yellowstone stars will all make their comeback to the big screen. Hauser name-dropped Kevin Costner, Luke Grimes, Kelly Riley, Wes Bentley, and Gil Birmingham when asked about Season 5. But that's not all. Another actor will be joining Yellowstone's core ensemble. John Lucas will be coming back to play young John Dutton, with Kylie Rogers returning as young Beth Dutton. And last but not least, young Rip Wheeler will be bringing Kyle Red Silverstein back on screen. Worried about the fates of Teeter and Emily? Not to worry, both Jen Landon and Catherine Kelly will be series regulars for the upcoming batch of episodes, along with Mo Brings Plenty and Wendy Monez for their roles as Mo and Governor Linnell Perry. Also, expect some new faces. It doesn't end there. We'll see new faces around the ranch too. Kai Castor, Lily Kay, and Don Oliveri will all be joining the series in new roles, along with country artist Lainey Wilson, who has publicly confirmed her joining the show at Montana's Under the Big Sky Festival. According to her, she will be playing a musician in the series named Abby, and she's elated for the opportunity to share her music with fans and avid watchers of the show. As for Don Oliveri's character, Deadline reports that she will be a corporate shark oozing confidence, newly arriving in Montana. Beth will need to get her to guard up, it seems. Though Season 4 didn't really end with any major cliffhangers, there's no denying the Dutton family went through some major changes. What with Jamie becoming a murderer, and Beth holding him hostage with the dirt she has on him that could ruin his whole life. But nothing stays under wraps forever with the Duttons, and Piper Perabo knows that all too well. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think of Costner's political views? Are you looking forward to Season 5 of Yellowstone? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.